When a pope dies, a specific set of ancient traditions begins. The first step is to officially confirm the death. The Cardinal Camerlengo, or Chamberlain, has this important duty. In the past, this was done by gently tapping the Pope's forehead with a small silver hammer. He would call out the Pope's baptismal name 3 times. If there was no response, the Pope was declared deceased. This ancient ritual is no longer practiced in the same way. Modern medical science is now used to make the official determination of death, ensuring the process is handled with both reverence and accuracy. Once death is medically confirmed, the Camerlengo takes formal charge. He will officially pronounce the Pope's death in the presence of key Vatican officials. These officials include the Master of Papal Liturgical Celebrations and the Chancellor of the Apostolic Camera. After this pronouncement, the Pope's private apartments are sealed. This is a symbolic act. It shows that the Pope's personal authority has ended. No one is allowed to enter these rooms until a new Pope is elected. This tradition protects the late Pope's privacy and marks the formal closure of his reign. The next crucial step is destroying the symbols of the Pope's power. The most important of these is the ring of the fisherman. This is the personal signet ring that the Pope wears. It is used to seal official documents. The Camerlengo must destroy this ring, usually by scratching a cross into it and then smashing it with a hammer. This act is highly symbolic. It prevents any forgery of papal documents during the period when there is no Pope. The official seals used by the late Pope for his office are also broken to ensure the integrity of the Vatican's administration. Finally, the world is told the news. The Cardinal Camerlengo informs the Cardinal Vicar of Rome, who then makes the official public announcement to the city and the world. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica may be rung in a slow, mournful way. This news spreads quickly through global media. It marks the beginning of a period of mourning for Catholics around the world. The Vatican flag is flown at half-mast, and preparations for the funeral and the election of a new pope begin immediately, following a detailed and carefully prescribed schedule. After the pope's death is announced, his body is prepared for public viewing. He is dressed in special liturgical vestments. These clothes are red, the color of mourning for a pope. The vestments include a white cassock, a rocher, and a red mozzetta, which is a short cape. A red gold-embroidered stole is placed around his neck. On his head, he wears a white zucchetto and a bishop's mitre. The body is then taken in a solemn procession to St. Peter's Basilica. This allows the faithful from all over the world to come and pay their final respects to the head of their church. The period of mourning is called the Novem Dies. This is a Latin term that means 9 days. For 9 consecutive days, special funeral rites and masses are held in Rome. These ceremonies are attended by cardinals, bishops, priests, and lay people. Dignitaries and heads of state from around the globe also travel to the Vatican to attend these services. Each day has a different focus, praying for the soul of the deceased pope and for the church. This extended period allows for a global expression of grief and reflection on the pope's legacy and his service to the faith. The main funeral mass is usually held within 4 to 6 days after the pope's death. This large public ceremony takes place in St. Peter's Square. It is celebrated by the Dean of the College of Cardinals. The Mass is a solemn and powerful event, broadcast worldwide. The Pope's simple wooden coffin, often made of cypress, is placed directly on the ground in front of the Basilica's main altar. A book of the Gospels is placed open on top of the coffin. The liturgy follows a specific order, with readings, prayers, and a homily reflecting on the life and Christian faith of the departed pontiff. At the conclusion of the funeral Mass, the final burial rites begin. The Pope's coffin is taken back inside St. Peter's Basilica. It is a moment of great solemnity as the body of the Pope leaves public view for the last time. A document called the Rogito, which is a summary of the Pope's life and pontificate, is placed inside the coffin. Coins minted during his reign are also included. The coffin is then sealed and prepared for burial. This concludes the public farewell, transitioning to the very private and sacred act of interment beneath the Great Basilica. The period between a pope's death and the election of his successor is called the sede vacante. This is a Latin phrase that means the see being vacant. It refers to the empty chair of St. Peter, the episcopal see of Rome. During this time, the ordinary governance of the Catholic Church is suspended. The Pope is the absolute monarch of Vatican City-State and the supreme head of the Church. Without him, most of the Vatican's departments, known as dicasteries, cease their regular work. Only essential day-to-day business is managed to keep the institution running smoothly. During the Sedakante, the church is governed by the College of Cardinals. However, their power is very limited. They cannot make any major decisions that would normally be the Pope's responsibility. They cannot change church doctrine or issue new laws. Their main purpose is to manage the daily affairs of the Vatican, arrange the Pope's funeral, and most importantly, prepare for the election of a new Pope. The Cardinal Camerlengo takes on a key administrative role, acting as the temporary head of state for Vatican City, but his authority is strictly defined and temporary. One of the first tasks for the cardinals is to gather in Rome. They hold daily meetings called general congregations. All cardinals, both those over and under the age of 80, can attend these meetings. Here, they discuss the current state of the church and the challenges it faces. They also make practical arrangements for the upcoming papal election. Important decisions, such as setting the date for the start of the conclave, are made during these congregations. These meetings are also a crucial time for the cardinals to get to know one another better before they enter the Sistine Chapel. The Sedakante officially ends the moment a new pope accepts his election. Until then, the world sees a church without its visible leader. The papal apartments remain sealed. The Swiss Guard, who are the Pope's personal bodyguards, no longer stand guard at the doors of the Apostolic Palace. Instead, they guard the entrances to Vatican City. It is a time of waiting and prayer for Catholics. They look to the cardinals gathered in Rome, trusting that the Holy Spirit will guide them in choosing the next successor to St. Peter. The process of electing a new pope is called a conclave. The word conclave comes from the Latin phrase cum clave, which means with a key. This is because the cardinals are locked inside the Sistine Chapel and the surrounding Vatican buildings. They are not allowed to have any contact with the outside world. This secrecy helps to ensure that their decision is free from external pressure or political influence. All cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to vote. They take a solemn oath to maintain absolute secrecy about the proceedings, both during and after the election. Before the conclave begins, the cardinal electors celebrate a special mass in St. Peter's Basilica called the Mass Pro Elegendo Papa for the election of the Pope. After the Mass, they proceed in a formal procession into the Sistine Chapel while chanting prayers. Once all the cardinals are inside, the Master of Papal Liturgical Celebrations gives the order extra omnes, which means everybody out. All individuals who are not part of the conclave must leave. The doors of the Sistine Chapel are then locked and the voting process can begin. Inside the chapel, the cardinals cast their votes on paper ballots. Each ballot is inscribed with the Latin words eligio in summum pontificem, meaning I elect as supreme pontiff. Each cardinal writes the name of his chosen candidate on the ballot, trying to disguise his handwriting. One by one, they approach the altar and cast their vote. A candidate must receive a 2/3 majority to be elected pope. Up to 4 ballots can be held each day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, until a new pope is chosen. This process can take several days of prayer and deliberation. After the votes are counted, the ballots are burned in a special stove inside the chapel. The color of the smoke signals the result to the world waiting in St. Peter's Square. If no candidate receives the required majority, a chemical is added to the ballots to produce black smoke. This means a new pope has not yet been elected. When a candidate finally achieves the 2/3 majority and accepts the election, the ballots are burned without any additive, producing white smoke. The bells of St. Peter's then ring joyfully, signaling that the church has a new leader and the Sedakante is over.